lately I've been having people tell me they were struggling with Abyss floor number 92, and that most of the guides out for this floor are somewhat outdated. This is, in my opinion, a relatively easy floor if you have the units for it, and the units are relatively accessible, so here's my guide on how to full auto Abyss floor number 92. Not with this team. Okay, so here's the team. We're going to use Angelic Montmorency as our healer. Now, you can really run any healer. Destina works just as fine on auto. If you want to run it on manual, you can run Acades. Acades works fine because even though she's fire, half of the time she's got immortality up or the invulnerability up, so solid healer there for manual. We're going to run a level 50 Cuirass on some really scuffed gear. I mean, level 85 ring, level 70 boots, an artifact that probably few of you even have. We're going to run Issaria. I put level 71 boots on her to slow her down. She's not very tanky. It is important that you do have a decent amount of effectiveness to be able to land debuffs. Oh, well, this won't do. That's a limited artifact. So let's see. Let's change that to something a little more free to play. Song of Stars would be good, but it's level 30. I think I got another one. Yeah, there we go. Level 18 Song of Stars. That'll boost our damage. You can also put her on Bloodstone. That'll assist with the healing a little bit. Good for full auto. Third unit is Arya. This is a pretty jank build Arya. She's... I don't know. She's not that impressive. I think you ought to be able to build something like this. The artifact's really not that important. I do like her not being debuffed and like her not being stripped, but it's not absolutely critical you have that artifact. And of all the Guardians, Arky is the best for this. Although we're doing it full auto, there is a spot where you can use Arky to speed things along. And you make sure everybody's skills are on, and you press auto and sit back and enjoy the show. Issaria debuffs, of course she missed her target and her defense break, so this runs a little bit slower now. With Magahara's Tome on Angelic Montmorency, she cycles, keeps everybody cleansed and healed proper. Cuirass, believe it or not, is our principal DPS for this. Look how much damage 3 bleeds did. Each bleed does 5% damage. That's one of the ticks on that graduated green bar at the top. So every time the boss takes a turn with 3 poisons, he's going to lose 15% of his health. Her S3 will extend the poisons if it doesn't get resisted like that. This is part of why they call Cuirass the queen of Abyss cheese, is because her poisons are so strong at dropping the boss. Until you get to higher floors where the boss is immune to poison. The blind debuffs from Arya are great. They help keep you alive. And the defense break, although it doesn't help the poisons, the defense break does help Arya with her damage. Now remember, Arya is a defense scaler, so you want to run your defense as high as possible on her to get your extra damage. The first time I did this, I ran it with Destina, but I thought Angelic Montmorency would be a more free-to-play option. Destina gives you that emergency backup to raise everybody if somebody happens to die, but I think Montmorency is more continuous cleansing and healing, which is nice because on the next stage you do get defense broken, so having that cleanse is really useful.
You cannot escape from me.
There we got the debuff extension, a little bit more poison damage.
Do not stand back. This will suit
And Arya's Murder Penguin. And yes, it's definitely a murder penguin. I've had people tell me it's a crow or a demon or, I don't know, some other nonsense. But look at this. This is definitely a penguin, and it's shooting a laser out of its mouth just like murder penguins do. So you'll never convince me that it's not a murder penguin.
Your pain away. It's going to be okay.
Momo tops off the healing, and we've got enough poisons that as soon as the boss takes a turn, it's going to push us into the next phase. And poisoned. Now we're on to this phase. So every time Tywin has buffs on, he puts permanent buff block and strip on your team, and you have to strip the buffs. So there's his buffs, and now we've got a... I'm sorry, I should say whenever Romann takes a turn and Tywin has buffs, you get the permanent buff block. To get rid of the permanent buff block, you just have to strip Tywin, which fortunately Asaria does even on auto. As soon as she's stripped, the buff block goes away, and we can start buffing ourselves again, which helps keeping Arya's barriers up. Kyrus doing her poison thing. Momo keeping everybody healthy. And some blinds from Arya are always nice. Poison does its work. We're down to 75% health left. Kyrus extends the poisons so we get them even longer. Target debuff from Asaria, so now we do even more damage.
That must have been painful.
And this poison pop pushes Tywin below a threshold. And once he drops below that threshold, he gives himself a barrier. Now you can leave it on full auto for this. It just takes a while. Instead, while it's still on auto, just reach up and click your Archie button. Once you Archie once, you should have enough souls to Archie a second time. And there you go, 2 Archies drops that barrier. We've left it on auto the whole time. I know we clicked a button, but we didn't have to. It just made it a lot faster. You can opt to just walk away, leave it on our auto, and the poisons from Kyrus will slowly chip away at that barrier. Asaria strips one more time. That gets rid of the permanent buff block on everybody. Kyrus reapplies poisons. Definitely want the effectiveness on your Kyrus. Those poisons are what makes this run so smoothly. Arya unleashes her murder penguin again.
Oath of the White Flower.
Oh, nice. Asaria reset Kyrus, so we'll get even more poisons.
You cannot escape from me.
Kyrus is going to extend the poisons one more turn.
But I won't give up.
Momo doing a crack job of keeping everybody healthy. There's the defense breaks I was talking about, but Momo takes care of those pretty easily. Now we got all the little Terranor guards summoned and the barrier's back up. The barrier only happens twice, so we'll go ahead and Archie just to chip away at the barrier a little bit. We don't have enough souls to Archie twice, so we'll just have to auto the rest of it.
Painful.
The strength to fight back. Charge! To your positions.
Hindsight being 20/20, I maybe could have put Arya up front. I think she could tank a little bit better than Momo's tanking, but she's fine.
I pledge myself.
The barrier can't be stripped, but we can strip the buffs at least.
It's going to be okay.
And now that Kyrus has only 1 poison, that's disappointing. You know, 1 poison was enough. 1 poison broke the barrier, so we're able to move on.
Nobody can escape me. The power of the storm.
Here I go.
Now we've got the permanent buff block because Tywin has a buff and Romann took a turn. So until we strip that buff off Tywin, we're not going to be able to buff ourselves. Not that I think it really matters. More murder penguin action.
Let me take your pain away.
Victory.
Tywin's going to try to defense break us again. Oh, he stuck some. And Romann got a turn. This is going to hurt a little.
That must have been painful.
Death before dishonor.
We reset Momo.
To your positions.
I'll be with you.
And now everybody's stealthed, and the only person that can get hit is Arya.
We want to help.
Go.
It's going to be
Except Tywin got buffs, and Romann took a turn, and everything's dispelled. That's frustrating.
okay.
Got 2 poisons off Curious that time.
Sword of flowers.
She's not poisoning as well as I'd hoped she would, but we're moving along. The strip from this area means the buff block is gone.
Emergency. Move out. Emergency.
Here I go.
Emergency. Move out. Emergency.
Extend the debuffs a little bit.
It's hard, but I won't give up. It's going to be okay.
This will suit you well.
Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed our soul situation. We could Archie twice. Well, almost. In one more turn we could Archie twice, which would end this fight. In fact, we could Archie once and end this fight. He's only got like 12% health left. But, I don't want to. I want to show that this is doable without Archie. So we'll just let the poisons do its job. I really should have put Arya up front. Momo just doesn't have the chops to be in the tank slot for this fight. But
Your pain away.
kind of wish she'd healed herself instead of Asaria. Aw, poor Momo.
You cannot.
So a little tankier Momo, or Destina, or moving Arya to the front, probably a good idea for this fight. But pretty clean, full auto, semi-auto if you count clicking the Archie button, but still, nice easy way to beat floor number 92. You can get Asaria and Arya from the side story banner pulls, and Momo is pretty much free, so is Curious. They're 3-star units, you should have them by Abyss 92. Hope this guide helps you guys out who are struggling. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section, and as always, like and subscribe.